everyone, I hope you're well. Today I want to share a few of my favorites for August, and there is also going to be a couple of extra things. So there is going to be my white book by Nava, and also after all of this I will also share something else which I have really enjoyed, and I'm going to add it to my favorites. Let's start with the book. So both the book and actually this beautiful tray which has a tropical vibe to it. It's slightly off-white ceramic, and it's got ridges here, and it's like a palm leaf of some sort, and I really liked the stylistic choice. I love the black splatters, and it kind of sort of goes with one another in a way, but it's by a brand Tognana, and the reason I bought this one is because I want to keep my large brushes in there. Once they're quite wet and saturated with water, I have nowhere actually to hold my brushes, so it becomes a little bit problematic. So I thought this tray actually works really well for that reason, and I haven't decided which way I would use it. Probably this way would make more sense, but I don't know. I will figure it out as I go, but I love the look of it, and I love the fact that I can, in between the usages, also use it for something else. It just looks nice to, I don't know, display a couple of watercolors if I wanted to work with a limited color palette or something like that. So have I said, by the way, I'm filming this intro third time now because there has been some weird car noises quite randomly and motorcyclists. So I don't remember now, but have I mentioned that both of these came from TK Maxx, or actually it's HomeSense, which is on the top floor, and then TK Maxx, my local one, or the closest one to me, has like clothes in TK Maxx downstairs, and then all the homeware stuff is upstairs in the HomeSense, which I absolutely love, and always discover some interesting, beautiful interior design pieces. So my white book is by a brand called Nava, and it's basically a brand that has been founded in Milan in 1970s, and they worked with leading international designers. So this book has been designed to allow you to be creative with your thoughts and kind of, you know, write almost your own book. So I'll show you in a second what it looks like inside. It's got 192 pages. It is a 150 GSM paper, and the sizing is A5, and it says here 150, which is 15 millimeters by 15 centimeters by 21 centimeters. And this is what it looks like inside. So it says here, every story needs a book. And then my book is a book. It is a book without text. At first sight might seem a misprint, but it is a pretext to imagine a story, a book that you could write yourself day after day. So I thought that's kind of sweet, and I like the idea of it. So you can title it, you can put your author name, and then a year and place that you wrote it in, and then it starts with introduction 1 to 8. So I guess you can write the introduction here, which I would leave after writing the actual book, because I wouldn't know where I would start and where I would lead. So I would leave that page to finish. And then chapter 1 is a story. So it begins on page 9, which is this one. It's a story. So basically you carry on writing, and that's what it looks like. It's got nice softness and thickness to the paper, so potentially you could even illustrate here. You could use it for art purposes. Now I haven't tried any of my art supplies, and I may do that, as I always do on the last few pages, just to see how it takes water and things like that. If I wanted to do some, for example, abstract art and combine it with my thoughts and things like that, I could do it. And then at the end it says here, publisher, Nava Studio, design, Dennis Guidon, and then contributors, you know, I guess you write your name, and whoever contributes to your book, if you have children that you want to have them scribbled in there, you can do that. Truth be told, I always wanted to write a book. In fact, I used to think that I would become a writer, but you know, as things went on, I have taken different route in my life, and that never happened. I actually started writing something and never finished it and never wanted to go back to it. And then for many years I actually really turned off from writing. I didn't want, I don't know, I just didn't have the joy. Nowadays I like to express myself not through words but through color, through art, and all of that fun stuff, which I find is a lot more flowy, you know, it just happens. Whereas with writing, you have to think where you start, where it's going, how it's going to end. So it's a lot more complicated, and I feel that sometimes the process puts me off. But this is completely easygoing, so literally you could just write something every day, or whichever day that something interesting happens. I think I will take more of a philosophical approach to it and kind of have this sort of thoughts of a situation or an observation, how I feel about it, what I have maybe discovered or learned from it, etc. So I think this is how I'm going to take it. Whether I will add some art to it or not, I don't know, because it might just overcomplicate things. But I will definitely try out some of my art supplies and see how it goes. But I thought it's a nice little book to share, and definitely colored pencils would work on here. I can see by the texture it would be lovely. It's a nice soft paper with ever so slight texture to it, and I think, yeah, you know, if you're someone who works with crayons or pencils, things like that, that are dry mediums, 100% would work. But even possibly we could try and make it work with some water soluble art supplies. Okay, so let's move to the next bits and pieces. So what I have here is a okay, let's actually start with watercolors. So for watercolors, I've got 3 colors that I really love this month. Actually, this color I was going to include in my July favorites if you watched that video, but I couldn't find it, if you remember, and I did find it, so I'm definitely including it in the August. And I think as a color palette it works well. I haven't painted anything with exact these colors, but I have enjoyed the colors using them sort of separately. So I've got 2 Roman Szmal. So by the way, this is the Sennelier bright yellow green, and we've got 2 Szmals, Roman Szmals colors, which are, this is the ginger red, and this one is transparent brown, which is, I would say, a beautiful muted red. And then we have a cobalt blue, which is a fluid acrylic by Golden. Very beautiful, and actually beautiful to use with this brush. And now we have the oil paint, the oil stick by Sennelier, also in cobalt blue, gorgeous color. They're very similar in, obviously they're both cobalt blues. They work differently in texture, but very similar in color. In terms of the brush, it's a Princeton Velvet Touch 3/4 inch oval mop. Absolutely love it. It's really a brush that I now quite regularly use in my abstract art. So if I want to use it specifically with watercolor or acrylic inks or fluid acrylics, anything of that nature, this is fantastic. Oh, sorry, I'm wearing these beautiful pearl bracelet, but if it hits something it makes a loud noise. So yeah, I love to soften the edges with this brush. So that's what I wanted to mention. I will come back to swatching everything, but before I do that, I thought I will also share something else with you. So I pulled in a couple of things here which I want to show you. So recently what I have done, there is a video that might be coming before this one or after. I haven't decided the order of the videos, but basically I have recently taken out all of my Roman Szmals out of 3 different palettes, plus I had some colors that I bought new to be added, and so it just became a mess because all of those palettes had different color arrangement, and it just didn't work because I actually enjoyed working with them. I love painting with Roman Szmal's watercolors lately, but it became quite difficult to use them because the colors were all over the place. So I wanted to keep them in one palette, and so I came up with this idea of using one of the Durban pencil tints. So this one is the Graphite Tint, which I don't really use these pencils, so I decided to take them out and probably keep them in a glass or a jar, and then I will spray paint the cover and yeah, use it as a palette here because it works, as you can see, beautifully. So it goes, the pans go right to the edge, the lid closes beautifully, and you can get so many colors in here. So we've got 11 colors in one row, and then we have 6 rows, so that's 66, plus you can squeeze another one of the colors at the end, which is another 6, so that's 72 colors you could fit into this palette. The only thing is right at the end, it doesn't, you can squeeze it, but it just doesn't clip on. There's like a little bit of a gap for the magnet. So what you could do is you could put a double magnet at the bottom and just have it, you know, raised ever so slightly, but that way it would be clipped in and not just slide around. But basically you can easily fit another 6 in here. So that's what I will be doing. But before anything else happens, I am just so confused by the whole color order. I have done a swatch, which probably will just show you quickly as well in my sketchbook. So I have organized them according to the names, or the numbers rather, of the colors and how they come in their, you know, arrangement. And there is a lot of colors that, for example, we have 206 comes after 306, then it's 307, then it's 207, and then you look into the browns and you have 242 and 129. So the numbers are all over the place, and it's very hard to organize the colors according to the numbers, which you can see all the colors that I have. This is what it looks like. It's a completely, you know, shuffled sort of look. So what I need to do is to basically isolate every color and then find an order visually without sort of looking at the numbers. And the only way I can think of doing it is by doing a swatch card for each and every one of them. Also, I actually have been meaning to do this for a very long time, but for all of my watercolors, and I thought this would be a good start because I can, you know, just kind of get into it slowly just with my Roman Szmals, which is already a lot, but then I have quite a lot more to go with all of my other watercolors, and go through every single tube, every single palette of half pan and full pan of any existing color that I have, and basically create a database of colors that I can very quickly find visually. So if I want to, for example, create an abstract piece and I roughly have an idea of certain colors, I can quickly go through these swatches rather than, obviously I can't remember what exact color I have in every single, you know, palette and brand and whatnot. So also in one card here I will see the transparency, I will see the pigments, and also in terms of light fastness I will be planning to do my own somehow throughout the years. I want to basically leave the colors out in the window and then just write yes or no. So it will be light fast or not light fast. And also there have been cases where I heard other artists would say the color is actually not light fast, and then others would do the test, and it does look light fast. So it can be a little bit confusing and misleading. So for me, I just want to know that if I'm going to be selling original art pieces, then I obviously need to know what I'm doing and what I'm working with. And sometimes, you know, brands are not giving the exact information, so best way is just to do your own test. And so yes, I'm leaving this open here until that's sorted, and then I will share as I go on with the process how I will keep them and things like that. So what I did to create this, let me just show you, is I have used this element here from my stamp set, which by the way I had a lot of questions and demand for, so I'm definitely planning to bring it back in stock. So I'm going to be doing another restock, but that will be in September, and most likely towards the end of September, I would imagine. But this is the Swatch Joy, and it's got this element that I used here. In addition, it has a couple of fun elements here as well, but this is what I used in this set. I've got the strip, the black ink strip, and then we've got the granulation, transparency, light fastness, pigment, and date. So whenever I'm going to be doing the light fastness, I will be stamping the date and writing when I created them, so I know which time they had in the sun. What else? So in terms of transparency, you can use this strip instead. So if you do transparency, you obviously don't need this strip, because, you know, you would just say, is it transparent, yes or no? And then this strip actually, I find, demonstrates really well whether it's transparent or not. So you can actually visually, I'm much better at visual information than written information, so to me that works better, but I just wanted to give you an option here. And granulation as well, quite often you can see it already, and what I do is sometimes I would stamp granulation, again give the information for it, or these days what I prefer is dropping a bit of water on one side of the swatch, and you can see here we have a kind of like a smooth swatch, and here we have all these backgrounds and things like that. So if this was a granulating color, it would granulate everywhere here, and you would also see some granulation here, but the disturbance of the granulation would show us some interesting patterns on the backgrounds and things like that. So there's a number of different things you can do, and I gave you this sort of option for it. And yeah, and so this is the other things you can do with the stamp set. You can even create some fun face illustrations, or I call it a petal, and you can do loads of other things. I will try to link the video up here for you to see all the fun things you can do with this stamp set. Okay, enough said. What I have used to create it, and a couple of tips I would give you is, firstly, it's quite helpful to have a few acrylic blocks to stamp your information. So if you're going to go for pigment, light fastness, and this strip, for example, then I have them ready to go, and I don't need to take them off and replace each time. In terms of paper, I went for a very textured one. This is a Jackson's paper, and I really like it. It's got that sort of like organic look to it, like a rag texture. When I say rag, I mean this sort of rag texture to it. And I love cold press anyway, but you know, this is a lovely paper to work with. So what I've done here is I used the archival acid-free ink in jet black, because that's not going to move with watercolor. And besides that, I've also used one of these, so you can get them in your craft shop, and it's also very convenient once you cut them with scissors, just to create cleaner edges, or if you have a bigger one of those, you can just, you know, cut it straight with the big one. On this sheet I managed to fit 13. One went into the bin because I messed up the first one, but yes, 13 are going to fit onto here. The only issue might be And I don't think I mind it, but basically this rotation here at the end of the sheet I can fit in 3, and you can see the texture goes from across to it doesn't have a cross, like it just kind of becomes all over. So if that would bug you, then maybe think of a different orientation of doing it, or getting a different size of this paper. But I think I'm okay with it. The paper I used is the Jackson's paper, and I'm just gonna show it to you. So it's this paper here. It doesn't have anything on the actual block, but I know it's the Jackson's paper block, so you can look them up, and it's the rough. So I'll try to leave information down below if I can. And yeah, there's also mats, so it might be better to kind of fit them all one direction, the stamps. But I haven't tried it, and I want to use this block up because I'm not using it for anything else, and I got loads of paper in there, and I figured that that would be a good start for me anyway. So that's what I have been doing. And let me also show you these art supplies on swatches. I don't think there's any point for me to swatch them out separately because you've already seen them anyhow. It's been a few days since I filmed the footage that you just watched, but when I was editing I realized that the ending was somehow not recorded. I'm not sure how, but it didn't. So let's have a look at the swatches, and we have here Transparent Brown and Ginger Red by Szmal. Really interesting granulating colors. This one has lovely opacity to it, but also looks very beautiful when watered out at the same time. And then we have Cobalt Blue, Sennelier Oil Stick, and Golden Fluid Acrylics, also in Cobalt Blue. Gorgeous granulation right here. And then I don't quite remember if I showed you that beautiful green, but I'll do it again just in case. So there is a bright yellow green, and that's also Sennelier Watercolor. And yeah, love this color. Also, what I did in that video was actually recording, or not recording in the end, but I did this lovely little abstract using most of the colors from the favorites, and well, actually I think all of the colors, and then I also added a couple more when I thought the composition was starting to get a bit heavy. So I just brought in some white and some buff titanium and just kind of blended it in back into the white paper, so we have more lightness in there. But I really enjoyed working with this color palette, and the only thing I think I didn't like is the bright yellow green. It didn't really look nice in my opinion, blended in with the blues and the brown, the transparent brown. So then that's when I started bringing in some more lightness. Okay, so that's that. Also, since I have spoken to you last about the Szmal palette that I was customizing, here it is. I actually had some time to spray paint it. I've done the bottom separately. You can see it's not a perfect job here, but it really looks fantastic now. It suits my studio, exactly the same color. I have a lampshade, a typewriter, tea coaster, and a few other things, a tray for my Neo colors, crayons. Yes, it really works quite well now. And I've done the lid separately. I didn't spray paint it inside. I actually quite like the look, sort of like a vintage vibe to it, so I left it. Also the black and white works well with the label as well. Same thing for the bottom, and that's it. So I think it looks amazing. If you're interested, I have used the Molotov Premium Original Urban Art Spray Paint. This is Belton, it says here, and the color is Riviera Pastel. It's a gorgeous color, absolutely recommended. The paint is superb quality. There is so much in this tin, you could probably spray paint a whole cabinet and still have enough left. Really, really good quality. The color match is fantastic. it's exactly the same as the cups come. So I tried the other paint before, and I've done one of my son's furniture pieces, like a little bookshelf, and it looks so good. So yeah, absolutely recommend the spray paints. That's it for my August favorites, but I have a little extra here, which is probably unrelated to art, but I thought I will mention it just because I love the scent. This is the Jasmine Essential Oil, and it can be used in diffuser, vaporizer, bath massage, topical, perfume, home and cleaning. I just add a little bit, like a few drops here. It comes with a dropper, and just massage it into my skin. It doesn't last very long, but while it does, it smells so good. I had so many compliments from women, men, children, everyone. When I'm wearing it, just it's such a attractive, beautiful scent. So I thought you might want to check it out if you wish. So thank you for watching. I will see you soon.